Alrighty. Good afternoon. Happy days, beautiful people. It's your girl, the lovely Ewoton here on Let's Pop with Ewoton. Thank you so much for joining us here on the best radio station, the Black Heart Fire Network, where you find amazing, uplifting conversation in regards to what matters more, the African history, identity, because it's always about understanding that you are the change you need to see in the world. It's always about redefining Africans as we redefine our minds. Thank you guys for joining me live on YouTube, X, Facebook, everywhere. Remember, you can follow us on all the social media platforms for amazing, uplifting conversation. And today, we're going to basically get deeper into it, amazing, groundbreaking conversation here on Let's Pop with Ewoton. And we're going to talk about Africa in crisis, everything that Africa has. But today I'm going to have this conversation with a beautiful guest of mine, how we can be able to understand why Africa it is where it is and what can we do about it with what we have. But remember to like and share this TikTok, invite more people to listen into amazing conversation in regards to what matters most. Remember also to download our app on Google Store, stream on www.blackheartfirenetwork.com, and on the app, on the Star section, click on it, and at the tab will appear the BHFN Sports Store. On it, when you click on it, it's going to lead you on another page where you find amazing healthy supplements for the guys who are working out. Remember, the keyword is super healthy. We're talking about alkaline foods here on the Black Heart Fire Network. You'll find amazing supplements for the ladies who are basically growing their hair. You want to have stronger nails, a glowing skin. You'll find healthy supplements on our page. Thank you so much, everyone, liking and basically joining us this beautiful afternoon on the Black Heart Fire Network. I'm going to introduce my guest. She's going to actually introduce herself before we start this conversation. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. You're going to be a little bit louder. Feel free.
Okay.
It's a very safe space.
Thank you. My name is Joy Monalisa.
You're on YouTube, you're on TikTok.
I'm happy to be here actually.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to get into the discussion of today. It's really interesting.
Right.
And I bet I have some insightful information for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically you've had that from Joy Monalisa.
Yeah.
Beautiful name going there. We're gonna talk about the Africa, or basically Africa in crisis, and also the minerals, the resources. We're going to talk about Ubuntu. We're going to talk about the power Africans have, but they're not basically using it, and why the Europeans basically find it so easy to come and take over what everything basically that belongs to us, and we're just watching. What should we do about that? Is it time, or basically time's up? We've been saying that. And I believe if you look all over right now in Kenya, because I'm here, you'll see foreigners everywhere. And we're not questioning about this. But I believe, as we always say, it's always about redefining Africans as we redefine our minds, learning and relearning. I'm going to share this short video to make us fast understand the main conversation about why Africa is in crisis. Joy. Alrighty, amazing guy talking about the foundational Western character flow.
My critique, and maybe the critique of others who criticize the West, is that I don't really differentiate between colonization and imperialism and racism and white supremacy, feudalism, neo-capitalism, and so on. I don't differentiate these things from each other, and I don't differentiate these things from the culture and the character of the West itself. All of these things are manifestations of Western character. That's what drives these policies and these practices and these ideas. They're all just versions of each other. For instance, the same colonizer mentality is actually applied across every arena in the West. The mentality of exploitation of others' resources and the dehumanization and subjugation of those whose resources they are.
Let's first talk about the fact that he's saying exploitation of others' resources. That's happening every day here in Africa. And can you name it? That was basically happening thanks to Ibrahim Traore for Burkina Faso for saying no to the colonizers, so basically taking over everything that they had, and now he's basically chased them away from his country, and he doesn't want anything to do with them, and he's going to basically use their resources and minerals to redefine Burkina Faso. What's your take on that?
So the thing is, as Africa, we have a lot of minerals, we have a lot of human resource, and actually our people are so strong to a point where if we had the opportunity and the leadership and the correct knowledge how to manage ourselves, we would be far as a continent. The problem started back in the day during the colonial period. We're not going to blame all our failures on colonialism, because we have a country like Singapore. It was also colonized by the British. But if you look at their economic system right now, they're amongst the richest in the country, according to their per capita income. So the problem really started when, back in the day when the colonialists came, we had our own system of managing ourselves. And actually when you go back to the Kenyan archives and you read the old documents and the records that they were keeping, the first thing they did when they arrived here was to capture our leaders. The leader of the, speaking of the Kenyan community, the leaders of the Akamba and the Kikuyu and the Luo, the first thing they did was to capture the leadership system. And then the second thing they did was to hinder our communication. So they actually went to a point where they were putting muzzles on people so that they were not able to talk. So you see this hindered communication.
And that is in our land.
Yes, in our land. And also the leadership system went down. So we had a way of managing our own minerals, our own wealth, our own resources that we had locally. But then when these people came, they kind of dismantled that. So the people who actually passed away and died long time ago when the colonialism first started, they went away with all the knowledge of how to manage our economic system and our people. So you find to a point where when
do you think they actually like agreed to their system?
No, of course not. We were coerced. We were kind of forced, you can say that. Yeah, so after these people just passed away and went away with most of the knowledge that they had, you'll find that...
Which knowledge is this?
How to manage ourselves. You know, we were grouped according to communities, and these communities allied with other communities in a certain specific manner and a certain specific way. So we had things to trade, and we were actually managing ourselves really, really well before these people came. But now, upon their departure, when they were departing, there were these slaves and these people who were working in these farms. And actually, that's where the problem didn't start during the colonialism period. The problem started when these people left. Because as they were leaving, they were selling this land to their immediate workers who were in their farms. And these people just scrambled and took a lot of the land and kept them for themselves. So not everyone had the opportunity to get this land ownership system, because the people who are the immediate workers of the white people who left, they got the opportunity to seize the land and take all the riches that were left behind. So in that manner, you find, okay, we were trying to get back our economic back to being stable, but this was a problem because as we had already been dismantled, people ended up deciding and agreeing, okay, you know how we are gonna fix this? Let's create our community to be more social. So that's where socialism began in Kenya and Africa per se, after the white people left. So this meant that all the minerals that we found belongs to the government. That's why even up to today, you know, if you own a specific land in Kenya, you don't own the whole of the land. You own it up to 6 feet under.
Which
so
doesn't make sense, right?
Anything that you find 6 feet and below is not yours. That's why whenever you discover oil or minerals on your land, it's not yours. You're going to be vacated from that property. And they don't have to answer to nobody. They don't have to ask you. They don't have to give you notice. You're just removed from that property. And then the government takes over. And then now, this started, people are now becoming selfish. Because after the white people left, they were like, our community was dismantled. We need to get back to, that's why tribalism also came in. Because we were previously divided according to communities like the Akamba, the Kikuyu, the Kisi.
But where did that all start? Because I don't think we had all these tribes.
Actually, we did. Because of
Are you sure?
Yeah, we did.
I don't think so.
We were not enemies before.
Yeah, we were
not enemies,
all one.
But we were living according to communities.
Even before the Europeans came?
Yes, even before the
Europeans
came. Yeah, we did.
No, I don't think we had these languages and tribes.
We did.
Because that's what's separating us right now. A lot.
The difference is before it didn't cause enmity. Because we had our own system of living with each other and trading and surviving. But after these people left, now people got a selfish interest about my people. My people have suffered in a specific type of way. My people need to come back up to where we used to be before. And you know, we have maybe, let's get an example of the Kenyatta family now,
sure.
you know.
Okay, yeah, that's a good example.
They had one person now who's Jomo Kenyatta, who was able to seize, and he was working close with us, with people who departed. Yes. So he kind of had an idea of how they were managing things. Yeah. So you see, the first people he was going to defend and fend for were his people, the Kikuyu community. And that's why, to be honest, in Kenya right now, the Kikuyus are amongst the richest tribes and the richest community.
That's true.
They are the money makers, you would say. Yeah. If you really have had an in-depth knowledge of the people around, they are the money makers of this community. Yeah. So all this started from back in the day, and then after those people left, we were left scrambling for our own resources, the things that we had by ourselves. Right. So you see, the communism that we had back in the day, it was distorted. And then now, after we were left having been distorted and confused and separated, now people started to have a selfish interest in terms of my community and my people need to get back to where we were before. Yes. And other communities are also like, same. We also want the same for our people. And that's because of now the limited resources that we have. And then these people, when they left, they didn't leave us with the systematic arrangement that we had before. Right. So now everything that has been disarranged, now people start scrambling for things and they are not partitioning it equally. Right. So that's where tribalism started, and now people started fending for their own community. People started employing and hiring people from their own community because everyone had this interest of my people need to get back there on top where we were. Yeah. So this is where all that problem started, and to be honest, it has not ended. It has not ended. It has not ended. We are far from ending it.
I'm sure though, do you think our generation right now, even when you see what happened a few months ago, the protests, we didn't have any interest in regards to who is coming from whatever tribe or community. We had one common goal and one common agenda. There's a lady, her name is Dr. Arikana Shihombori, a nice, amazing Pan-Africanist who talks about everything we're talking about right now, deeper, right? And she said the day, she's been doing these videos even before I knew her, and she said the day, thanks to my boss Keith basically introducing me to her, she says the day Africa will be revolutionized is the time when we'll all be fighting for one common goal, not in regards to any selfish interest or whatever tribe that you come from, but when we'll have one common goal that is affecting everybody. And that's what happened in regards to the protest. The finance bill was kind of like a trigger which affected everybody, and the people who rose are the youth, literally, because that's what they say. If you look at this Pan-Africanists, the youth are the one who are going to start the revolution agenda, which I believe is still there. So I have so much faith that a time is coming, or it's already here, when all these leaders with basically no interest in regards to what really matters to the people, they're gonna go. They're gonna go home. Everybody who's not genuinely standing on the foundation of truth is gonna be scraped off. I feel like it's just that season. Right.
Gen Z is going to be the generation that will come. We'll finish tribalism for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why actually the protest was so good. We were united and it was going really well. I attended the very first day of the protest. Amazing. Yeah, because I study in town, and it actually happened. This protest started right outside my building. Wow. Where they were splashing the pink water. You saw? Yes. So I was like, there's no way we're going to sit in class. And people are fighting for our community and our country out there. So we actually decided to join them, and we were so united on the streets. Right. But
any tear gas affected you?
Pardon?
Tear gas.
Yes, definitely. But you know, in all the patriotic movement.
Come on, girl.
And you know, there's just this spirit that you feel when you're in the streets, and you're like,
what spirit is that?
Tear gas will not stop me. Yeah. Because when you look at the society right now, people have reached that elastic limit. You know, there's a limit.
That's a good word. Yes.
And the elastic limit, we are currently there. Yeah. And were you seeing the protest yesterday outside of Harambee House regarding to the missing persons?
No.
Yeah, there was a protest outside of Harambee House.
You were in town, right?
No, I was not in town, but I was just seeing it through the TV.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, there were protests outside Harambee House regarding missing persons from the protest period. Yeah. And I actually thought, this is really good.
This is the same guy who was leading the protest?
No, Boniface Monge was there. Yeah. but it was not exactly a protest. It was the related families who had lost people. They had just gathered there because the people have been missing and nothing has been done about it. And I love that we are now being able to take these things to the streets.
Right.
Because this is just the beginning of the revolution. It's about speaking up and speaking out and demanding for justice and being physical about it. Yes. So what I would like to know from your perspective.
Okay, sure.
What do you think has led to the tribelessness amongst the Gen Zs? Personally, according to me, I feel like 50 to 70% of the people I know, they don't know their mother tongue. We were raised in Nairobi, and we know English, we know Swahili, we know according to depending on the school you went, you might know a little bit of French or Spanish. But most of my friends, even those few who know their mother tongue, they don't speak it
fluently, right?
Yeah, they don't.
Or they can just hear what their parents are saying, but they cannot really converse.
Yes.
Right? Or have basically a good conversation with somebody with their tribe. That is so true what you're saying. I believe it's because also there's so much than the tribe you come from or the community that come from that brings us together. There's arts, there's music, there's a lot like this generation, a lot of socialism of maybe things that bring us together in regards to talent and gifts. Rather than where do you come from, which community are you based on. It's not about that anymore. I feel like maybe it's a defining moment for Africa, for Kenya, to basically redefine Africa, and also starting from Kenya, right, to how it was. As you basically said, we had a good system of community, Ubuntu, where you are because I am, because you are, or you are because I am. Yeah, togetherness, love and unity, peace. So much of no one is fighting for nothing until the colonizers came in. And I know, and I feel like God is just perpetuating us back to the original state of how Africa was.
Without minus the selfishness.
Minus the selfishness. What you said when the colonizer left, that started because every community was fighting to basically get back what was stolen from them, right? Which basically led to tribalism, people taking more than what they had. And I believe if maybe they could have done it better for everybody to just have whatever land equal or whatever they're fighting for, to basically for it to be equal the way it was, that would be possible. But I believe also when the colonizer came and divided us on these little communities during the Berlin Conference, where we have now different countries, it was not like that. Africa was just one continent, and now everything has been divided. The minerals, the resources. You need a passport to go to South Africa. Why? You know, it's Africa. That should be cut off. We were all one, and now we are basically fighting against each other. Even not here, even as a country, we should not be fighting towards or against or even each other. We should not be fighting with each other. We should be supporting each other. We should be celebrating each other because of Ubuntu. You are because I am. But these guys were smart to basically come up with this little tiny country that we have right now, because with that they knew like we're gonna fight for whatever each other country has. Super sad. So I have so much faith. Even the fact that we're talking about this, it means revolution has started. The fact people are really talking about where they're coming from, talking about Africa, a lot of things that Africa has, talking about how the Europeans are basically ruling and controlling us through our leaders. It means this generation is full of woke youths. They know what's happening. They're watching what's happening.
The problem with our current leaders is they're still trying to prove something, and we're still trying to fight to be relevant. Because when these people left, and even before slavery was illegal, because you know back in when it was still being colonialized, what made Africa wealthy was slave trade. We would sell people from Africa, because you know we had the mastermind slave traders who were still Africans, and they would sell people to go and work in the US and in other countries that colonized us. And then we would in return get manufactured goods.
So was that a good thing?
It was not a good thing, of course, because our people are being taken advantage of. But it was our main source of income back in the days. Slave trade and ivory, trade of ivory. But now when slave trade became illegal in other countries, and people saw this is not good, and then the blacks now started fighting for their rights in the States. So this kind of put a halt into the slave trade in Africa. So they cut about 80% of our income. So the only thing we could actually export during back in the days was ivory. So you see, we literally didn't have nothing to exchange.
But I disagree with this. I don't think it was a good thing at all. The slave, it was awful.
It's awful, of course.
Debauchery. It was just pathetic.
It was, of course, pathetic.
Yes.
But it was our main source of income.
It's like you're agreeing to it. Like it didn't have to be any source of. They needed us.
They needed us.
We didn't need them.
But okay, just stating facts. It was what brought us money and what brought us manufactured goods.
But these are people who were basically
it was what our
being
trade,
tortured.
Yes, but it was what our trade was based on. We in turn got manufactured goods, and they came and built this transport and communication systems. But they were specifically for traveling and transporting these people. So when all of this ended,
which was wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I feel like you're supporting this.
I'm not supporting this,
yeah.
But I'm stating the backbone of our economy back during the colonialism
system.
Okay,
let me get your point from there. It was the backbone of our economy
during the the system. So when they left, you find that as Kenyans and Africans, the only thing we could do now to still stay relevant and in communication and in exchange with those other countries were cash crops. This is now another story that's bringing the poverty that's still happening in Africa. We were planting things like coffee and cotton so that we can continue having trade with these people, so that they can give us their nice things. The only thing now we could exchange with them are things like coffee and tea, of which when you look at in terms of economic systems, one of the characteristics of a developed country is they have to switch from agriculture as their main source of income to mechanized goods now. So, but when you look at a country like Kenya, our main source of income is agriculture. So now you find this is why we still have famine and hunger in Kenya, is because most of the people living in the dry areas, instead of planting food to eat, they are planting cotton to export. Because they're still trying to stay relevant to those people. Basically, they entered and colonized not only our people in the physical, but also ourselves in the minds. That we still have to stay relevant to these people. We still have to be in communication and in contact with them because they're superior to us. So we still have something to prove. And it's coming even to the current now. You see, like our president, the things he's doing. Basically selling our country just so that we can remain relevant when we don't need to be relevant.
That's the thing.
Take an example of China, right?
Yeah.
There's a time China decided, you know what, we are going to close down our economy. They sent a few of their brightest and most intelligent people back out there to the US and Africa.
That's not true. That's not true.
Hi, Keith.
Sorry.
How are you doing?
That's not true. I gotta. How's everybody doing? I always got to dispel this. I always got to dispel this African thing. They think China built itself. That's a lie.
Keith.
They always think that. I don't know.
Hello.
Why do they believe it?
This is Joy.
China didn't send.
Yes. Joy.
Okay.
Hi, Keith.
Yeah. How you doing? China didn't send its greatest and its brightest out to no damn world. That's not what happened.
What happened?
China was.
They came back. They came back to their country.
China. No, nope. That ain't what happened. Just because you come back to your country and you have no money, China was poorer than Kenya. They didn't have any money. Just because you came back as your brightest doesn't mean that I'm going to give you money to develop. So what happened was China was always conquered by, let me say, the global elite, people that actually run the world, that actually control the banks. China was created when they overthrew the king of China, the emperor, and they put in a communist dictator called Mao that was sponsored by the West. They put him in power. They created what you call China today. Most people think, oh, the Chinese just went out. No. So the ideal, they go country to country, and they exude the resources like America. So America was conquered back in 1913. So they were going to extract the resources out of America and move the empire to China. First it was Britain. They moved it to America. Now it's to implode America and build it to China. So they moved all their manufacturing. Put us up here, Tom, so you're printing up. Put us up.
Okay.
say, let's see what Google don't lie, but let's just see what they say. Just for shits and giggles, let's see what they say. They say, why did America move all its manufacturing to China? I wanted to know that this was purposely done. It wasn't no, because China sent its people out. That's horse shit. So why did America purposely? Why did America purposely give its manufacturing to China?
Okay. So what I was saying previously was okay. This is what I learned in school.
Of course. In your school, that's what you learn. It's a lie.
Okay, let me just put it out there.
Yeah, before I read this, continue.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So they sent out a few people to get knowledge on the different industries according to the things they produce. That's why. So when these people came back to their country, they brought all this knowledge back, and that's why the manufacturing industry grew so much, because they had sent out these people into different parts of the world, and they came back with knowledge about different products.
Now, I want you to think logically, okay? I come back with knowledge. Where did I get the money to build manufacturing? Because you got knowledge, understand? You have knowledge, but you don't have the technical skills to build it. Just because you learn it in a book don't mean you have the technical skills and also the experience to do it. See, there's a difference between knowledge and experience. See, manufacturing comes through experience, not with just you just learn something in a book. So, see, I want you to think logically, so that's a lie. And that doesn't make any sense. You know, think about manufacturing, you can't just take something from a book and create manufacturing. It takes years of experience, because manufacturing is trial and error. You learn through trial and error, things that don't work, things that do work. There's nothing in a book. Remember, everything you learn in a book is just practical act. It doesn't work in the real world. It's all just some shit in a book. Never works on the ground and real world. But anyway, read that, Ewoton.
Alrighty. In addition to its low labor costs, China has become known as the world's factory because of its strong business ecosystem, relatively lax commercial regulation, low taxes and duties, and competitive currency practices. That's what it says.
Yeah, but why did America give China its manufacturing? Why did it do that? Why did America send its manufacturing power to China? Why did it do that?
All right, this is what it says. I'm going to read it. It said, later in 1971, Henry, the USS Secretary of State, happened to visit China for a formal meeting that led to healthy trade relations between the two economies by the end of the decade, resulting in an increase in manufacturing in China. Is that
what
it?
Happened was that's all lies.
Because I definitely typed whatever you told me.
I controlled China because they created China. So in 1970, you have Henry Kissinger over with Nixon, said they call it the opening.
You're cutting off.
It wasn't the opening of China. They'd already decided they were going to make China in a bad era. Still cutting off?
Yeah, that's okay.
Am I still cutting off?
Yeah. You're good. No, you're not. You're good. You're cutting off right now. We can't hear you. Okay, there.
Well,
There we go.
Let it continue her thesis. Let it continue her thesis. I don't want to take her time, but yeah. See, what she learned in school is a lie. There's no Chinese go out and learn no education. That's a lie. Because I'm a teacher, okay? If that was true, tell her. Now, if the Chinese were uneducated, fucked up, backwards, that's the truth. All the resources come from Africa. Why wouldn't I build my manufacturing in Africa where it would be cheaper? Because all the resources, China has the resources. So why don't I build my manufacturing in Africa where it would be cheaper?
Right?
True.
I'm asking her.
Okay.
I'm asking her. Go ahead.
Yeah, because it would be cheaper, of course, I agree.
Yeah, because the whole thing to make sure Africans stay on the bottom. The whole thing was to make sure they were going to raise the Asian up next. They want to make sure Africa stays ignorant and in the bottom and in poverty. because it wouldn't make any sense. Why would I build manufacturing in Asia when I can build it in Africa? Because that's where everything comes from. It don't come from China. It comes out of Africa. So they decided when they see, it's a lot of history that Africans don't know. Like, who actually runs this planet? So you get some made up story, you know, the Chinese, they took a few people, went out to the world and learned some shit. You know, that's a Disney fairy tale.
And you know, we didn't know that, kid. Like, it's not our fault, right? Because that's what we're taught.
I know it's not our fault. I wanted to think logically what she's learning, because you haven't got to think. You got to have critical thinking.
Right.
What they're saying makes no sense. What she's saying, this is what she's saying. It makes no sense.
Right.
Okay, I get a few scientists leave China, go to the rest of the world, learn shit, come back, they're still broke.
Right.
Where's the money come to build manufacturers, billion-dollar businesses? Simply because I know some shit, I'm in a poor country. So where's the money coming from to actually build the infrastructure, to bring in those manufacturing things that I know? Because I learned it in a book.
Right.
Don't mean I know how to actually set up manufacturing. So your manufacturing comes through years of experience,
right,
through trial and error, not no book learning. So I come back and I say, okay, I learned all this shit. Okay, now I'm still broke. I'm still broke every time. How do I build all this manufacturing shit?
Right.
I'm broke every time. Because China was broke.
Yeah.
So they don't got no money. They don't got no money. This is just a fact. They're broke. They're broken in Kenya back in 1960.
Right.
So where, okay, I go out and learn all this great shit that I learned in a book, which don't really apply to the real world. But I got it in, but I got it in my book.
Right.
So I'm saying, right, where does the money come from to make me a manufacturing powerhouse? It don't come from China, because I ain't got no money. I'm broke. Because remember, China don't read this, put this up, Ewoton. Say, in the 1960s and 1970s, China wasn't able to even feed its people. But the Africans, the educational system in Africa got to be completely eradicated.
I agree.
Made up with nonsense.
I agree to that, 100%.
That's an interesting insight over there.
In the 1960s and 70s?
They say in 1960s and 70s, China was not able to feed itself. It really can't now, because there's no resources. There's not really a good thing for farmers, but just put that in there. So they couldn't feed themselves, but now they become some manufacturing giant. I want you to connect the dots here. What I've been learning shit, that's nonsense. Nonsense. Let's see what you pull up. Say in the 1960s, the Chinese could not feed themselves.
Well, this is what it says. In May 1966, with the help of the Cultural Revolution Group, Mao launched the revolution.
It's Mao.
Mao?
Yeah, Mao.
Mao.
Mao was the leader, yeah. See, Mao was the one that put in power.
In China?
He's a puppet for the West. Yeah, in China. That's why I wasn't doing that.
Name.
Yeah, Mao Zedong. He's a puppet that they put in power. They overthrew the king of China. They wanted to get rid of his ass. They overthrew him so they could get control of the country and put their puppet in.
Right. So he said, Mao launched the revolution and said that some elements had infiltrated the government and society with the aim of restoring capitalism. Mao called on young people to bombard the headquarters and proclaim that to rebel is justified, or to rebel is justified. Sorry.
Why they give you all that? See, Google so bad. Why they give you all that nonsense? I just asked you to say, can China feed themselves? What does that got to do with this?
Saying. And then they're saying here, by 1952, China's shares of global GDP had fallen to 5.2%, and by 1978, it slid to 4.9%. The adoption of economic reforms by China in the late 1970s led to a surge in China's economic growth and helped restore
China. They get your whole gap. So you have 1952 to 1979. So 1950, they're impoverished, right? They're poor. Okay, they're poor. And they say now it's economic reforms in 1979. I told you the people that run this planet went there. They already took over China, right? In 1970, they go there. They say, you know what? We're going to start making a manufacturing giant.
Yeah.
We're going to start doing this. There was nobody. So understand Africans. Did no smart Chinese go to the rest of the world and learn how to manufacture shit, and all the money came to China when they was broke as shit. That's made up. Okay? That's nonsense. It's a lie.
This is what it
Rothschild.
Stagflation in the 1970s was a period with both high inflation and uneven economic growth, high budget deficits, lower interest rates, the oil embargo, and the collapse of managed currency rates contributed to stagflation.
Yeah. China was on its knees. So the idea that somebody went to some college and came back and created manufacturing is absolutely a Disney fairy tale. Country was broke. So what they decided, they were going to inject and move all America's manufacturers. Americans don't control America. There's a group of people that run America, and they're not American. Let's say that. They own certain banks, the Rothschild banks in Switzerland, in England, in Europe, the bank of the city of London. So what they did, they said, as we destroy America, as we train America, we need to set up manufacturing in our new place. So if you guys understand that's the reason why they're trying to, I'm on YouTube, so I can't say too much.
Yeah.
The reason why they're trying to give you all these BACCINEs, right? And this fake pandemic they released, fake pandemic that they released, is that they want to implode the world. And now we're going to talk about some real crazy shit.
Right.
Now, I know your friend doesn't know this, so I don't want to go too crazy. This would be too much information.
Okay.
Agenda 2030, that's what they're doing at the UN right now. They want to depopulate the planet, guys.
Right.
These individuals that actually run the world want to depopulate the planet. So they try to kill off 6.8 billion people. Now this is real, not me making up shit. And so they said, reason why they made China into a power, they said, well, Chinese people, we don't like Africans. We don't like these niggas. We want to get rid of them anyway. We want Africa without the African. Africans got all the resources. Yeah. So what we're going to do is, and now we're even going to murder off white people too. White people are stupid too. We're going to murder them off too. Well, I'm just saying what this is real.
Okay.
So they said we wanted to keep the Chinese because the Chinese are obedient, but we only want to keep about 300 million of them around as our slaves.
Right.
So we're going to build our new empire in China. We're going to collapse America. So when the white man wake up, realize we destroyed him, he can't use the military to come after our ass.
Right.
So that's why they're imploding America now. That's why they moved everything to China. This is what China's not know. A few Chinese people went out and decided to get educated. Let me see if Google will say this.
Okay.
Say, let me ask Google so they won't tell no lies. This shit, Google's so terrible. Let's say,
You're good?
Learning. No.
You're cutting off, kids.
Application.
I didn't
You
hear
can't
that.
learn. You can't learn to know how to be no manufacturer.
What do you say again? Please repeat that again. You were cutting off.
As Google say book learning would never be as good as practical application. Experience is always the best teacher, not a book.
What learning will be the best?
Say book learning would never be as good as practical application. Ask Google, see what it says. Says book learning would never be as good as practical application. To any endeavor, you must get experience. Say it again.
Theoretical knowledge?
Yeah, theoretical knowledge.
Yes.
That's book burning. It'll never be as good as practical being on the ground. So a few Chinese people with their theoretical bullshit is not going to teach you how to do no manufacturing.
Yeah.
You gotta learn from people who've actually done it. They gotta come and build it, and you have hands-on experience.
Mm-hmm. Are you there, Keith?
And on in the trenches doing the work. Can't nobody in no book teach you shit.
Right.
I went out there and I learned from this.
You're cutting off again. I can hear a butt area or something like that. Do you agree with him? Literally?
Now, go ahead. But book learning is good, but it can't. Go ahead. She go ahead.
Okay.
So, are we done with that?
You can say.
Because I wanted us to get back to talking about Africa now. We've had enough of the Chinese.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about this the other day. I was watching the Gaddafi Muammar documentary.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that.
You know about the stuff he used to do before he was taken out?
Right.
Yeah, he had actually taken Libya to a point where medical healthcare was almost free. And he was vouching for the United African currency. You remember?
But it killed a lot of people.
Yeah, okay, I don't
He
know
was
about...
not a good guy.
He was not a good guy?
Yes.
But did you know the things he did for Libya and his regimes that he wanted to implement for Africa?
I believe that it was just a face front.
No, that's why he was taken out. Because he wanted to reduce the Western influence in Africa by creating a united currency for Africa. It was called the something. Yeah, the gold, and then
it was called the golden north. The golden north.
Yeah. So I
Expound more on that.
So understand about Gaddafi. And we get some straight again because Gaddafi, what she's saying is true. Libya, it was free.
Yeah.
I've been to Libya.
Yeah.
Libya was Libya. What he did, what African leaders are not allowed to do, he just take resources, and which was the oil. But listen, Africans will never, don't think Gaddafi was an African friend. Okay? Gaddafi killed millions of African people.
Yeah.
Millions of African people he killed. Millions of Africans.
You're really cutting off, Keith. Like a lot. We can't hear anything.
He was also, I want you to go look this up. He also was apologizing to Africans for his treatment of what he did to Africans. Understand, all these countries in the north, those people are invaders. Those white Arabs are invaders. Those are African lands.
Right.
They killed millions of Africans. Those are African lands. So what he was trying to do to benefit the Arabs, not African people, he was like, you know what? I'm sorry that we murdered all you niggas. I apologize about that. You can look that up here. That's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not me making it up. You can look that up.
Yeah,
About him apologizing for murdering niggas. Right?
Yeah.
That's a fact. So he's saying he knows Africa's the richest continent on the planet, which it is. He said, which is smart. He refused to put, I told you, those banks, the Rothschild banks. So he refused to put a Rothschild bank in Libya. And that's the first thing. That's a no-no. They're not going to let you say, oh, I'm not going to allow no Rothschild bank to come in with the IMF and the World Bank. Who the Rothschilds own those banks. So he said, no, we're not going to take no fake debt. We're not going to take any of this. But I'm going to apologize to the African for all the death and destruction that I might have caused, right?
Yeah.
And then he said, you know what, we need to unite because Africa's the wealth of the planet. Africa. So he wanted to make in charge of that wealth, guys. Not that he was helping the Africans. He wanted us all to unite, yes, but under Arab rule, not under African rule.
Right.
He was apologizing. Put this up here, Tom, on YouTube. Say Gaddafi apologized to the African for his treatment of African people. I want people, Africans always don't never get the whole story. You know what Gaddafi did? Gaddafi didn't like your black ass.
Welcome to the
He's like
African Leadership
he murdered our
Series.
ass. Man's a killer.
Killed a lot of people. Right?
Okay.
So I think
Continue. Just continue.
Right.
So I think someone should take that idea of just first of all the uniting African countries.
Yeah.
Someone should take that
Exactly.
idea.
Bring true.
Yes, someone should
Let
take that idea.
me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Now, Gaddafi's idea was brilliant. It was. Don't get me wrong. Now, tell me, why haven't none of these African leaders picked up that mantle and decided to do what he did?
Right.
Most of them are still afoot to the European and American
Yes.
leaders.
Yeah.
You're still having
And
something to prove. You're still trying to prove something.
But we don't need to do that.
Tell them.
I don't think they prove it. I think they're all cowardly puppets. I don't think they trying to prove nothing. Because what is it to prove? I think they're all cowardly puppets. But they got to prove to anybody anymore. So that because doing what Gaddafi did, makes Africa now a superpower.
Right.
You unite, get rid of all the dumb tribal shit you deal with. You gotta get rid of that tribal shit you got. That tribal shit gotta go. You gotta grow up with that shit. But you gotta all that tribal shit gotta go. That shit gotta go out the window. But once you unite, because you're the wealth of the planet, like you say, you're the wealth. Gaddafi's idea was great. I'm not gonna take that away from her. It was a brilliant idea, and it would have worked. And she's right. That's why they killed his ass. Because if you unite Africa, the wealth of the planet, guys, is Africa. So if I back my resources with this dinar, the African resources backed by your currency, you now become the richest people on the planet.
Right.
Overnight. Gaddafi knew that.
Right.
You think so the white man said, Gaddafi, no you don't. No. We're not gonna allow that. We're not gonna allow you to make us poor like we were before we stole Africa. We're not gonna allow that. So we're gonna call you a terrorist. We're gonna call you every dirty name in the book, because he wasn't a terrorist.
Right.
But he did care about his own people, and he did work to. But any African can do it, because guess what? Nigeria's got more oil than damn Libya.
Right.
Why is Nigeria all fucked up?
Right.
Why is it not? Why is Nigeria not like Libya was?
Right.
Ask these questions. So she right. So understand, black people. Gaddafi was no friend to black people. Okay, maybe change. Okay, maybe change. I don't know the man's heart. He did start apologizing. You dirty Africans. I'm sorry I've murdered so many of you. I've seen the light here. Allah has made me see the light.
Glory.
Allah.
Oh, here's Muslim, yeah. I'm gonna play this video. You got it.
Go ahead.
On behalf of the Arabs, I'd like to condemn, apologize, and express my deep sorrow
Yeah.
for the conduct of some Arabs, especially the wealthy among them, towards their African brothers. The wealthy Arabs treated their African brothers in a disgraceful way in the past. They brought children and took them to North Africa, to the Arabian Peninsula, and to the other Arab regions.
بقية المناطق العربية اللي تقع بين هذين الإقليمين واستعبدوهم.
They subjugated them and traded in them in the most brutal fashion. To tell you the truth, they engaged in slavery and in human trafficking. In the most brutal fashion, to tell you the truth. We are ashamed, along with the African brothers, when we recall this. We are ashamed of those who behaved in this manner, and especially the wealthy Arabs, who viewed the African brothers as inferior slaves. This is no different from the way the West, America and Europe behave towards the Africans. They would hunt them and treat them like slaves.
That guy is actually interpreting it. He's saying they're apologizing. He's apologizing in behalf of the Arabs of how they treated the African brothers engaged in human trafficking, slave trade.
He's only calling you a brother now because he's smart. He's not no moron. He's smart. He's calling you his brother now because I want all you goofy niggas to unite under me because you got the wealth of the planet. And if you unite under me, you'll make the Arabs super rich and we'll rule, and you goofy niggas will still be on the bottom, but at least we'll pretend like it's some brotherhood shit.
Right.
Because understand, see, you never taught real history.
Right.
You know, even though I'm African in America. I know what, and I've been all throughout Africa. You guys have never taught that those people in Northern Africa are not indigenous. Those are invaders. They've murdered millions, and they continue. And Gaddafi's hands are bloody. He's murdered millions of Africans. Him personally.
Right.
So when Africans get all dewy-eyed, you know what Gaddafi did? Yeah, he murdered your black ass. Oh, no, what? Did he do that? Yeah. Yeah. Murdered a bunch of you. Because if you guys don't know, the indigenous Africans still are in Libya, but they live in the southern part. They were pushed into the worst land. So they never benefited from what Gaddafi was fixing the country up and having free school. The niggas didn't get free schools. They got hunted and a bullet in their head. They didn't get the free education and the free health care. They didn't get none of that shit.
Right.
Because it's really their country. Remember, all those countries from Egypt to Morocco were stolen. Those people are not indigenous Africans. Those Arab people are not indigenous to Africa.
Right.
And they've never been our friends. And if you know, but he probably knows most of you don't know. He knows a lot of you do know that. That's why he's doing his apology to it. Hey, we need to come together, my sister Ewoton. I'm sorry I've done so much hurt to you and your family, but that's in the past. Let's make some goddamn money. So I want you guys, I don't want you to be naive. What he did was good for the Arab people, no doubt.
Right.
And I agree with everything he did. I think that, like I said, why has there been no African leaders that do that? Because they know that's going to be a bullet in their head.
Right.
They know, because they also tried to go up to Gaddafi. You had Museveni dumbass over in Uganda, and it's like, because Museveni was also a puppet of, he's a puppet of the West, but he also was a puppet of Gaddafi. He allowed Gaddafi to come and spin a lot of shit. You didn't know that, Ewoton, did you? You didn't know that.
About Museveni? Like he's a puppet?
Yeah, about Museveni. Yeah, well, we know he's a puppet, but did you know he was also Gaddafi's puppet? Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, because but I don't know. Museveni is such a duplicitous bastard. He might not have been his puppet. He was allowing Gaddafi to spend a lot of money in Uganda for what they call soft power.
Right.
You have hard power and you have soft power. So he was building all these goofy monsters to try to turn most Ugandans into Muslims so they would, back Muslim causes. That's what these religions are about. That's why you're a Christian and you're a Muslim. Because I know you get mad. Your ancestors were evil. That Christianity's made up. It's baloney. Don't get mad at me. I'm not the one who made it up and brought it to you.
Mad at you, we love you.
Okay. Yeah. Africans get mad when I tell them the truth about the fake Christianity and the fake Islam. And it's easy. I can easily prove it through history. They get mad at me. I know you told me, but I'm still upset. I want to believe. Okay, believe what you want to believe. It's done for political. Religion is done for soft power. Because me as a white man, if I'm stealing everything from you, you're gonna work. You still worship me. You know I treat you like shit. You know I've stolen everything. But in your mind, you still gonna worship me as a god because of your religion. And so just like you're gonna worship the Arabs if you're a Muslim. You're going to worship these people. And so that's called soft power. And so what Gaddafi was doing in Uganda was creating soft power throughout Africa. Trying to turn Africans into Muslims for their benefit, to follow them. You know, that you still won't lead shit. You'll still be under me, the air, right air. So that's what he was doing. So when they were killing Gaddafi, Sammy tried to get on a plane with some other African leaders, and the white man said, "You niggas better get off that plane and go back home." Right. That's what they told him every time. You niggas better go back home, get off that plane, or we're gonna do you like Gaddafi.
Wow.
And you can look that up. You can look that up. If think I'm lying, that's a fact. And you niggas better get off that plane, and you better go back home to your goofy countries. You got no power. We control you. We put you in power. We sustain your power. You better take your ass back home. because Gaddafi was giving them money too.
Okay.
For sustaining their lifestyle.
Right.
See, Gaddafi was also giving them money. And see, they're not gonna lie about that. You can look that up. Because they don't want to hide that.
Right.
That Gaddafi was having puppets in Africa. Because he was smart. He said, "Damn, Africa got a wealth. Shit. Let me unite these dumb niggas behind me." Shit. And so, you know, and black people love to worship everybody else. You got the wealth. You got more wealth than any African country than damn Libya does.
Right.
If Libya can do it, Kenya's got 10 times the wealth of Libya. Yeah. Why is Kenya poor? These are questions that you need to ask. Why is Nigeria poor? You got much more wealth than fucking Libya does.
Right.
You can do all the things Libya's done. Why is it not being done? Because you got white European bases in Kenya, the British. Most of the land is still owned by the British. Yeah. British never gave up none of that land when they came in and colonized Kenya and the rest. They're not giving up none of that land. You know, like she said, you got to grow their fake crops. So now you got starvation. There never was no starvation in Africa. Right. You in the land of abundance. Yeah. Now I gotta grow coffee and cotton. I'm not supposed to grow food to eat. Cause I gotta grow these cash crops that benefits the Europeans.
Right.
Which is stupid.
Yeah,
you're like, what?
That should stop.
So
you would have been stopped that. Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead. She got it.
So what do you think are some of the redress measures we should put in place as Africans to...
Okay, redress measures is first you got to get rid of the education system. The education system is so bad. Everybody's miseducated. Don't nobody know how the world works. Everybody's living like some fake Disney la-la land. So first of all, the educational system has got to be completely revamped. Because the African has been kept as a child. Yeah. A child in the head is kept as a child on purpose so everybody can rape and steal from them. You can steal from children. So, shout out to a lot of the Kenyans. They are waking up. They understand a lot of things. And then secondly, you got to overthrow the whole governmental system that was left by the Europeans. Africans, you got to do Ibram Toure. These systems that were designed, the system was designed to keep white people in control. These puppets from Jomo, from the beginning of Jomo, goofy ass, this no good dirty puppet, to all of them. You have a criminal cabal that runs Africa, runs Kenya, Nigeria, whatever country. Okay, they're just a criminal cabal, and so they don't work for the Kenyans or any Africans. They work for their white masters. So that's what you see. Yeah. So the majority of Kenya's income benefits white people, not Africans. Benefits white. Like I said, there is no such thing as a poor African country, guys. I want you to understand that. What you see poverty, but there's no, people don't come to poor countries, guys, to rob and steal from. White people didn't come to Kenya because it's poor. No. They came because it's wealthy. They come to Nigeria because it's poor. Africa. Okay? Yes. So the educational system's got to be changed. You got to learn that white people are not your friends. I'm sorry. They've never been our friends. I hate to teach you that. It's going to hurt your feelings. It's going to hurt your feelings. You got to learn the atrocities that they've done to us as a people. You got to learn that. I'm sorry. Can't say, oh, white people are good. They've done some bad things, but baby, they can change. No, they don't change. They're not changing. They're not trying to give you freedom. They're not trying to, you know, the death in Africa is crazy. So, educational system first, because you got to go back to learning you got to learn to be proud of being African. You ask yourself, why did they cut your hair off in school? Why did they cut girls' hair off in school? Because they said our hair was offensive. You haven't changed that? You've had 60 years of independence. You haven't changed. It took Ibrahim Traoré and Bikini Boy to say, listen, you grow your goddamn hair. You don't be ashamed to be African. Are you crazy? And in all African countries, everybody's running around here. The girls and boys are bald-headed in school because the white man said, your hair offended him. Same way he told us here, our hair is offensive. So you're talking about self-hate that's perpetuated. So now you got to take back your African identity. Okay? Unapologetically.
With pride.
With pride.
Yes.
Yeah, unapologetically.
Yeah.
You can't be saying to be what God made us to be. The real God, not that fake Jesus shit. The real God. Real creator of the universe.
Right.
Okay? We can't be ashamed of what God created us to be.
Right.
We're Africans. I'm proud to be a motherfucking African. You can't shame me from being no goddamn African.
Yeah.
True.
So, what you stand then, so now you gain back your confidence because now you know you are. So now you won't allow people to abuse or use you, and now you will start taking advantage of what's actually yours. All the gold is yours. All the diamonds are yours. All the cobalt is yours. All the coltan is yours. Everything that runs the planet is yours, African. And then you learn your history. You was never poor. White people were poor. Before they came to Africa, you were wealthy. That's your history.
That is true.
Your history is wealth and abundance. That's your real history. Not that shit they told you they came and civilized. How do poor fucked up people come and civilize you?
That is a lie.
You get out of wealth.
Right.
So once you learn yourself again, now you won't be scared. You won't be called no moron, His Excellency no more. Excellency? They work for you.
Right.
You're supposed to be in a democratic system. How somebody you call someone excellency and they your employee?
Right.
I'm not running around calling goddamn, I love Ewoton. I'm not calling her damn her excellency. She works for me.
Right.
I'm not, that's how much I love her. She works for me.
Right.
I'm not calling her no damn her excellency. And you only see that in Africa. There was a country that, there was a place that's up in Africa.
Right.
Maybe in Ghana, Kenya. Because you've not been told that these people work for you. You're actually being disrespectful to yourself.
Yeah.
You like calling someone a king.
They use
His
the
Excellency.
inferiority
What?
complex ideology. Yeah. And it's just time for us to take everything that has been stolen from us as we are winding out Keith and Joy.
It belongs to you.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she knows a little bit. Just I want you to think, whatever you've been taught, know that it's skewed. It's skewed to keep you really not knowing.
Right.
There's no Chinese people that went out. See, look how fantastical that sounds. A group of Chinese people went out and learned and came back and built China into a power. What?
That's so real.
Where'd the money come from?
Right.
They're broke. They were broken in Kenya. They're broke. Where'd the money come from? So I want you to always say, okay, even though what I'm learning may be partially true, but it's mostly a lie. That's that we've been lied to, guys. So as African people, the Chinese people know better than you. They didn't become no miracle and all that shit. Few scientists went out there. You got a few people went out. You got Africans that went out there. They learned. They smartest doctors on the planet are African. Why they came back to Africa and built Africa? Because they got no money, guys. So because all the money's been stolen. So understand, there's no great Chinese people that fucking came back and built no China. That's a myth. The money moved to China because they wanted to build China to the next empire. So that's how China became a success.
Right.
Okay? And shout out to a lot of the white racists know that shit. I mean, like, they make me laugh. Chinese Chinese got that shit from us. I started laughing. They actually telling partly the truth, even though they racist about it.
Right.
They tell the truth. Because they know China was poor and backward and fucked up. More poor and backward than Kenya. I was Kenya, now poor and China's rich. But just because some people went out and went to school, and I went to school, nah, that ain't what happened.
I've learned to ask questions, thanks to Keith, in regards to everything that you're reading or
African
researching,
people.
you know?
And in fact, I'm gonna teach you guys a secret. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna teach you guys something real quick.
Okay.
Like African people, you kept them on purpose, but you are the smartest people on the planet. Keith, how you say that? Scientifically, I'm about to teach you guys something. And look it up. Make me a liar. African people, you're the smartest people on the planet. And the white man knows this. He's already studied you. Because biologically, you have 12, what they call 12 neurological centers that reach your brain. That means your brain fires more knowledge than anybody on the planet. Everybody else has 6. I think 6 or 3.
4.
So just, is it 4?
Yeah.
They have 4? Or whatever. I can't remember. So just by that alone, and you're smarter than anybody on the planet. That's why you kept stupid and kept in poverty. Because if you wasn't kept in poverty and kept living hand to mouth, your natural nature would surpass everybody. Because you're smarter than anybody. This is a fact. This is not my opinion.
Right.
As an African, you're smarter. When you're given right information, you're smarter than the Chinese. You're smarter than the Europeans. You're smarter than the East Indians. So get your confidence. You're smarter than Gaddafi ass. Trying to make an Africa behind his ass. No, Africa belongs to you.
Yes.
To us.
To us.
It's supposed to be ruled by us. Not no fucking Arab. So if you're a black woman, I'll follow you. As long as you're an African. I'm not following no white person, no Chinese, or no Indian. They better be black. Man or woman. So much love, family.
Thank you so much, Keith, for joining us. Really appreciate it. Any last words to him?
Yeah, one last thing I just wanted to add.
Okay.
I think we should feed our people. We should get back into subsistence farming.
Right.
And make sure there's enough food available for every African.
Right.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. Is the Maury in there yet? The Maury's not there yet, right? The Maury's not there yet, is he?
But he was here. He just walked out.
He was there. Damn, goddamn the Maury. I want him to come back and listen what she just said.
Oh my God.
I want him to come back. I want his ass to come back and listen what she just said.
Right.
That's what I tried to teach this crazy ass. He worried about, oh, Keith, there's no profit. Forget the profit, Demore. You got to feed African people again.
That is true.
Once you feed them, you can educate them. She's exactly correct. Demore, you get your ass back in there and you listen what this young lady just said.
Not everything is for the profit all the time.
Yeah.
Our people can't be dying and we are striving to be relevant in the world.
Thank you.
We need to be a healthy nation to be a wealthy nation.
Right. And that's it, literally. This has been an amazing...
That's our first problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
As
Yes. Yes. Thank God. She's smart. Thank God. Where's the Maury at? You drag his ass back in there.
Africa. Have you read the book Africa in Crisis, Keith?
Who wrote it?
I
read so many books I can't.
She's given me.
Who's
She
the
wrote
author?
the book for me. Who's the author? Lloyd Timberlake. Is that it? Yeah. The causes, the killers of environmental bankruptcy. That's it.
It sounds familiar. I probably have read it or skimmed through it. It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
What's the
brief about?
Anybody know the copy?
It's hard. She brought it to me. I don't know if you can
What's
see
the
it.
copyright date?
It's
What's the copyright date on it?
1985.
This is how it looks like.
Yeah, I probably read it. I probably have read it. I read so many damn books in Africa. They start to merge. This one, I might be getting one book mixed with another book. Yeah. It's probably good read it. But understand, guys, if somebody white wrote it, always, I'm teaching you guys.
Yeah.
Always, if somebody white wrote it, always read it with a critical eye. Understand they always have an agenda, which is anti-African. They always have an agenda. Now, there may be some truth in it, but it's always skewed to them. So always read something with a critical, have your mind open, read it critically.
Right.
And say, okay, while I'm reading this, what is this person's agenda? So always go back and also study the author. What is his past?
Right.
What is his experience to write this book?
Right.
So I know, I'm sorry, I make it, don't just let it just read shit and don't just listen. No, guys. Everything is propaganda, especially white people. Yeah. So go back and actually study the author. What is his belief? What is the agenda for writing this book? Who is he? So then you'll get understand. Always rethink. The Africans got to go back. I said education. You got to go back to read everything with a critical mind.
Right.
Don't just take in information because then you're taking somebody else's world view. And that's excuse. So always be critical what you're reading.
Right.
And so what's the agenda? Because remember, white people don't want you to get free. Their wealth and their lifestyle has been dependent on African subjugation, guys. They're not going to write that to you. That's a fact. Their wealth and their life. Europeans were always impoverished.
That is true.
That's their history.
Yeah.
They come from impoverished people. The reason why they're rich now because they got control of Africa. So understand that. So if they're talking, they're not going to talk. Well, Africans need to be free. They always tell you, yeah, we all fucking Africa up, but the African is not really able to handle his own affairs. They come with some paternalistic bullshit.
Right.
But even though we're bad, but the African is not able to handle all this well. So it's our right. I mean, it's our duty to help this poor dumb nigga, with his wealth.
Right. As we're winding up on Let's Talk with Ewoton, an amazing conversation here. You feeling better right now?
Oh, I've learned more than I thought I would come to dispense.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really amazing. Africa in Crisis, guys, on YouTube. Hello, Junior Mosquito on YouTube. How are you doing this beautiful afternoon? We've been talking about Africa in Crisis, Gaddafi, talk about Africa and the wealth it has.
Okay, guys, much love. Let me go to Uganda. Let me go over to Uganda real quick and bother them. Let me go over to Uganda real quick, guys. I see Santa Maria alive, so let me go bother them.
Thank you
much
so
love
much.
to your guest.
Yes.
Much love to your guest. Hopefully she's learning. Keep on learning. She's right about the subsistence farming. Right. And then let me go argue at the Ugandan employees.
Much love. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for coming. Joy, this has been an amazing conversation. I've also learned a lot every day, and let's do this once again. What do you want to say to our listeners and everybody listening us on the network and basically on YouTube and all of the social media platforms?
I would love to join you again.
Oh my gosh, sure.
Yes, of course.
Anytime.
This has been so insightful.
Yeah.
I've learned so much, especially from Kip.
Yes. Amazing.
What I would like to say to our listeners today is read from a critical thinking point of view. I think that's the most important thing I've learned today.
Right.
Yeah, and to do your own background checks and to just reason for yourself. Yeah, it's been written, it's been put out there. Yeah. But you have your own mind. Right. Think for yourself, reason for yourself, and get the things behind the picture. I like that, girl. The fact that you've basically gotten something from the whole conversation. Critical thinking. Of course. I'm always learning. It's a continuous process. I love that. I love that mentality. I think that's the most amazing, actually the best character or value someone can always have in this lifetime, to always learn and relearn every day. That you have a teachable spirit, So thank you so much for coming. Thank you guys for joining us here today on Let's Talk with Ewoton. Remember to download and follow us on all the social media. Download our app on Google Store and also stream on www.blackoutfrightnetwork.com to find amazing uplifting conversation in regards to everything in empowering, uplifting conversation. It's always about redefining Africans as we redefine ourselves, because
We are the change you need to see in the world. Remember to always spread love and kindness like a confetti, and it's time for Africa to take back everything that has been stolen away from it. We're not asking for it, we're basically demanding for it by force.
Yes.
Taking it by force, because we are the most wealthiest nation of all time. Melanin is power. So we're basically walking with confidence, owning our African identity, and basically taking back Africa to how it was, the wealth and the land of abundance. They used to call it the Garden of Eden, literally. Yes, so that's it, guys. Take care. Have an amazing afternoon. Remember to always stay rooted. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a blast. See you later. On to Bonge.
We did now. We